are the truly wise. Also the fools, Osho's paradox explains. There is an ancient tradition that links wisdom and foolishness. Is a wise person truly simple? Does simplicity arise from wisdom out of age or weariness? What is the difference between the wise and the foolish? This tradition is correct. There is a synthesis that transcends mere foolishness, a synthesis in which both wisdom and foolishness vanish into a unified whole. Wisdom and foolishness are dualities, like all other dualities: man and woman, day and night, summer and winter, life and death. Every duality must be transcended. Until these opposites are transcended, you will never approach the one, the real, the universe. In that sense, the wise are also the foolish, for in the transcendent, both are contained. But such a person is not foolish in the ordinary sense. Indeed, they are not even wise in the conventional sense. Their wisdom is a reality that has completely detached itself, and their foolishness is likewise absolute. They are wise because they know, and yet they are foolish because they know that the mystery of life is so profound that it cannot be known. They are wise because their journey reaches its end, and they are foolish because, for the first time, they realize there is nothing to know, that ignorance is supreme. They have come to understand that ignorance is the highest truth. There is no way to unravel the mystery of existence. We call someone wise if they have received an answer, yet the truly wise have not received any answer at all. Their questions have vanished along with every answer. They exist in a profound emptiness, and they do not know in the sense of conventional knowledge. We label a person foolish if they lack knowledge. We call someone well-informed or wise if they are filled with knowledge. But the truly wise eventually come to see that there is no way to truly know the real. Does the real even exist? You may live it, you may become it, but there is no method to know it. Knowledge implies division, the division between the knower and that which is known. Knowledge inherently divides, for it is based on dualities. The truly wise reach a point where they are no longer separate, where they are no longer isolated islands, where they dissolve into the whole. They merge, vibrating and resonating with the entire universe until they cease to be distinct. In that state, only God remains. The unity of opposites, transcending wisdom and foolishness. This is the meaning for one who reads the Upanishads when proclaiming Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, that is, I am God. It is also the meaning behind Christ's repeated declaration, I and my Father are one. When you regard existence merely as an object, you remain separate. But when you engage with existence, when you become a participant, when you let the object merge into your very subjectivity, then neither knowledge nor ignorance remains. For without knowledge, how can ignorance exist? They are two sides of the same coin, and the truly wise have discarded both. Thus, the wise are neither one nor the other. There is an ancient tradition that links wisdom and foolishness, and indeed, it is so. Some traditions say that Jesus was foolish, and he was. Others claim that Saint Francis was foolish, and he was. In India, the name Buddha even acquired a strange twist, becoming Buddhu, meaning the fool or utterly foolish. In this paradox, the very wise take on the opposite extreme. They become the fool in a profound sense. Yes, opposites meet. As I mentioned yesterday about what scientists call duality, every man is both man and woman, yet you tend to identify with only one part of yourself. You insist, I am a man, while deep within, a feminine presence awaits recognition, and vice versa. In denying the other half, you will never be whole. You remain divided. There is a moment of insight when the inner man and woman within you meet, merge, and dissolve into one. This is what William Blake called the inner marriage, when you become both, transcending duality to become truly complete. In India, we have the perfect symbol for this, Ardhanarishvara, the form of Shiva split into male and female halves. He is both lover and beloved, embodying both yin and yang. He is the unity of opposites. The wise and the foolish are two extremes of your being. If you are wise and yet deny your foolish side, you are not truly wise, because a part of you remains unassimilated. And if you accept your foolishness too readily, the wisdom within you is suppressed. The truly wise are those who transcend both, who discard duality altogether. In that state, one is neither solely wise nor solely foolish, but a new, unified whole. The wise are empty, transcending the mind's divisions. Is the wise person simple? No, the wise are not merely simple. They simply do not cling to mental constructs. Once again, we encounter a duality, a simple mind versus a complex mind. The wise are unmindful. They have transcended the limits of the mind. They understand that there is no mind as we usually conceive it. The mind divides. It serves as a barrier between you and existence, like the Great Wall of China. It is your armor. Yet the wise have no armor. They are unprotected, fragile, and open. They do not shield themselves from nature in any way. They are as they are, willing to journey the entire path with nature. They do not push against the river. They flow with it. They do not need a personal mind because the universal mind is sufficient. They do not require a private mind, for they harbor no private agenda. They are not driven by personal ambition, for that is what I imply when I say they have no private purpose. So why the need for a personal mind? The cosmic mind is enough. Some call it unmindfulness, while others call it the universal mind, with a capital M. Meditators use both terms. They say unmindful when they wish simply to negate the ordinary mind you possess, and they speak of the universal mind, the all-encompassing intellect, when they wish to affirm its true nature. What exactly is it? When we call it unmindfulness, we are merely stating that it is not the mind you are accustomed to. When we call it the universal mind or the great mind, we indicate its true essence. Calling it unmindful is a negation. It denies the familiar mind. Calling it the mind, the great mind, affirms its nature. Thus, is the wise one unmindful, or is he the embodiment of the universal mind? Indeed, that person is as simple as a child, but not foolish. He is like a child, yet not naive or immature. There is a vast difference between being innocent and being childlike. When Jesus said, "Truly, I tell you, unless you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven," he spoke of the simplicity and purity of childhood, not of childishness or immaturity. The wise are childlike yet not naive. They are simple without being simplistic. They are not complex in the sense that philosophers, logicians, or theologians are complex, laden with doctrines and theories. Their mind rests in its emptiness. There is no crowd in their mind. Their mind is void. They do not need to think. Thinking is a substitute. When you do not know, you think. When you know, what use is thinking? You already know it. Thinking is the state of the blind. If you sit here, blinded and yearning to go out, you must wonder where the door is. You would ask others where the door lies, fear tripping or bumping into a wall, and worry about where the door might be. But the one with eyes does not ask. He sees the door clearly and therefore does not need to think about it. The question, "Where is the door?" becomes meaningless once you have seen it. . From thinker to seer, transcending duality in the mind. In the West, the idea of the thinker is entirely different from the Eastern notion of the seer. You may have seen Rodin's statue of the thinker, or its paintings or photographs, yet we do not really call him a thinker. Rodin's thinker appears frail and burdened by thought. You can almost sense that if he remained in that posture continuously, he would go mad. The concept of the seer is completely different. That is why we call them seers. A Buddha is a seer, not a thinker. So is Mahavira, and so is Jesus. And these meditators are seers. Why do we call them seers? Because they truly see. When you can see, there is no need to think. What is there to think about when your eyes have already seen? Thinking becomes like the cane of a blind person, merely a tool to feel the way along a path. There's an allegory. A blind man once came to Jesus. Jesus touched his eyes and he was healed. This man had carried a large stick all his life. After being healed, he thanked Jesus and went home, overjoyed at, for the first time, beholding colors, the sun, light, flowers, people, and countless faces. He was deeply moved, yet he still carried his stick. Jesus called him back and said, "Sir, why do you still carry your stick? Why not let it go now?" The man replied, "Let it go. How can I throw it away? I cannot live without it." That was an old habit. He did not know that once his eyes were opened, he no longer needed his cane. This is what happens when you first merge with unmindfulness. You continue to think, merely out of habit from your former blindness. But gradually, you realize that nothing matters. You simply keep repeating the old patterns. When I say that the wise are simple, I do not mean they are naive. Rather, their simplicity comes from having transcended the need to think. Everything is already present for them, so how could they be considered foolish? Their awareness has expanded to the point where it becomes as vast as God Himself. Their abundance far surpasses that of the mere thinker by millions of times. And yet, they remain simple. Their innate innocence is untainted and the source of their consciousness remains unsullied. You might ask, does this simplicity come from wisdom acquired through age or from weariness? Ultimately, weariness comes with age. But wisdom is not a matter of age. The young can be wise, and if you search, you will find thousands of foolish old men. Old age has nothing to do with true wisdom. Yes, older people may have more experience, but that does not make them wise. They may be more knowledgeable, but they remain as foolish as ever. It's not a question of quantity. Fools do not know less, nor do the wise know more. It is a complete transformation, an entirely new mode of being. The so-called fool and the one we call knowledgeable both exist on the same level. The only difference is a matter of degree. The truly wise no longer operate on the same frequency. They have shifted to a completely new wavelength. The difference between the wise and the foolish is so vast that it cannot be measured merely by quantity. In fact, the difference between the truly wise and the truly foolish is like the difference between someone educated and uneducated. It is a new kind of movement altogether. Their quality of consciousness has changed, not because they know more, but because they are so much more. Listen carefully. It is not that they know more, but that they are more. Their being is more. The difference between the wise and the foolish. You might know more than Jesus, indeed, that is certain. You know more than Jesus, no more than the Buddha. If the Buddha were to take a college or graduate exam here, he would certainly fail, and even those who pass are not wiser than him. He would not know 1,000 things. If you ask him what a quantum is, or about Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, he wouldn't know. But that does not make him unwise. The difference between you and the Buddha lies in quality. His presence is different, his insight is different, and his compassion is different. It isn't that he knows more. Indeed, even in life, there have been others who know more than he does. Great scholars and eminent masters have come before him, and they often come to debate with him. Yet those days were beautiful. People were not overly arrogant. They could see. Even the few scholars present could recognize that he existed on a different wavelength. They would yield to him, not because they knew less, but because he was more. The issue is not that he accumulated more information, but that something within him was transformed. There was no longer darkness in his being, but an abundance of light. That is the meaning of enlightenment. He had reached the light. This light is wisdom. How can this light come about through age? Sometimes it happens for a child, like Lao Tzu, who is said to have been born enlightened. There is an allegory that, despite being born with the appearance of an old man, nearly 82, with snow-white hair and a long beard, he remains a symbol of wisdom. This tale is only metaphorical, not literal, suggesting that one becomes truly wise when reaching 82. In India, Shankara died at only 33, near the age limit of a typical hippie, 30. He did not go far, yet he was among the most awakened on earth. Even the most venerable sages would sit at his feet and receive his transmission. When Jesus was crucified, he was only 33. He could not have experienced much, could not be fully aware. Many learned Jewish scholars knew more and could quote the scriptures more accurately. Jesus was hardly educated. He was the son of a carpenter. You cannot expect too much. But what is the difference? The difference is not in the amount of information, but in the nature of the person. He was filled with light, joy, and bliss. The fragrance of having attained the ultimate without any further seeking, all desire had vanished. When one ceases to be a becoming, one becomes pure presence. The wise reach the state of presence. The truly wise do not pursue becoming something, acquiring wealth, power, or status. They are simply content with their own existence. They have no desires, not even a desire for God or enlightenment. All craving vanishes, leaving the person in a state of non-desire that is true wisdom. No, wisdom has nothing to do with age or fatigue. Yet many elderly people begin to think in a narrow, habitual way. They lecture the young about things they never accomplish themselves. They are tired and, deep down, resentful. If you see a boy climbing a tree, do you feel envy? Instantly, that envy is confirmed by advice. Don't climb there. You might fall. Listen to your elders. On closer inspection, you realize you are envious of days gone by because you cannot climb the tree as that boy does. When an old man sees a young man and a young woman holding hands in passionate love, he feels envious. Now he can no longer do so himself, even if he wishes. Yet that envy takes on a strangely beautiful form. It tells him that this is but a fleeting foolishness. Listen, the old man says, this will fade sooner or later. Don't be deceived by it. Do not think that he has become wise. If he were truly wise, he would understand the young couple and not oppose them. True wisdom never opposes life. It is always in harmony with life. It is not against life, but fully present within it. Whenever you find that "not" is overemphasized, remember that something else is masquerading as wisdom. And finally you ask, what is the difference between the wise and the foolish? The wise know that they are foolish, while the foolish do not realize it.